Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you all for rocking with me, and I may not be able to repay you with today's content, but I promise you I will try. So let's get into it. Today's episode, man, I want to talk about an interview that happened over at Say Cheese TV, where the guest was HoneyKomb Brazy. Now everybody know, man, that I got a lot of love for HoneyKomb Brazy, and a few of the other young guys, man, that's coming up right now, like Young and Ace. Finesse 2 times, a whole lot of love for him. But when I was sent the video of HoneyKomb Brazy doing the interview, the video circulating online, I made sure that I deep dived into the comments, and everybody's sentiment was practically the same. They called him retarded, they called him slow, they called him a crash out. And like I said, these are a lot of adult males and females, man. A lot of older guys that were once in his same situation, and it surprised me that there was so much judgment and not really a whole lot of understanding. Because see, HoneyKomb Brazy did something different. He didn't just make a statement on what he would do. He offered his why. And it's me communicating with a lot of young people over the years. You never really get a why, and when you do get a why, the why doesn't have any merit. It's like, okay, where did you get that from? And a lot of times, man, a lot of these young guys are thinking with somebody else's brain. Somebody else installed the thought in their head on how to think about the situation. That's not the case in this HoneyKomb Brazy situation. So when he was asked why he would kill Gucci, he gave his why, and his why was backed with real life experience. He said that there was a situation that I was in where I got into it with a guy that was a whole rat. And I take it that HoneyKomb Brazy might have underestimated him just a little bit. And he said, this rat, man, he sent some guys after me, and these guys shot me 8 times. Now, he didn't say this specifically, but in so many ways, these guys shot me. They shot him a total of 8 times, I think, man. 1 time in the head, in which the doctor told him that there's a possibility that he'd never walk again. Right? This is a real experience that this guy had. And to add insult to injury, this same guy sent some assassins through his grandmother's house, who raised him, his grandmother and his grandfather. They shot his grandmother and grandfather and set the house on fire. So they assassinated his grandmother and grandfather. Right? So when he answered the question, he said, why would you allow a man like Gucci Mane to live? You allow this guy to live. Gucci Mane, no matter how good of a man he is, can still take back to that 2006 version of himself. And Pooh Shiesty had to look over his back, all of his days, and that's not a quality way of living. So that was his reasoning behind saying that he would kill Gucci Mane. Now, again, it was backed by a why. That doesn't mean that the why was right. There's so many different things that he didn't consider. He didn't consider the fact that he'd get caught, and instead of him being charged with a robbery, he didn't be charged with murder. He didn't consider that at all, man. I mean, it's not that he don't care about that, but when you weigh both sides of it, man, he prioritized taking out his ops. And he said, I can sit up on the island, I can travel like this, I can sip bottles, I can do this, right? The threat has been neutralized. The guys that's under Gucci Mane gonna fall in line. There's some internet thugs. They'll write me back and forth telling me not to come through Atlanta. Okay, I ain't got to roll through Atlanta. But he's not considering a whole lot, man. He's not considering the fact that he could find himself in the exact same situation that he was in before. You don't know what type of guys that Gucci really got riding with him. You just don't know that. But in his mind, he felt that by getting at Gucci, he eliminated that threat. That's not factual. And he didn't take in the fact that he get knocked and he spent his days in jail at all. That wasn't even something that he considered, at least in this interview. So I just want to point out the fact that he can think, man. So y'all are talking this retarded stuff, this slow stuff. It's not that, man. It's just when you come up in certain environments, it shapes your self-concept. You can't understand a person unless you understand the self-concept behind that person. And a person's self-concept is who and what they consciously and subconsciously think that they are, right? Their self-concept is who and what they subconsciously or consciously think that they are. Okay, now what shapes that? The environment that they were raised in, right? So a lot of the ways in which he thinks, man, it comes from the way that he was raised. But I like the fact that he can think. So we have something that we can work with, right? Is there anybody that can invest in that young brother? That can take and look at his flaws and say, you know what, man, this is where you went wrong, HoneyKomb Brazy. Right? I heard your interview, man, but listen, look, this is a possibility of something that could have happened, that if you put down those plays that you talked about in that interview, well, you know what, OG, you're right. Sometimes that's all it takes, man. That's sometimes it all it takes. And like I told you, I didn't talk with young guys that are thinking completely through another person's thoughts. You can't ask them to explain nothing. They've never ever began to develop their thinking. And I still even see possibility in those young guys. But HoneyKomb Brazy has something to work with. It's just there's fallacies in it, man. There's so many different things that he didn't take in consideration. Let's talk about what he's gone through that shaped his self-concept. He was brought up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in Mobile, Alabama, right? The projects, right? And he was raised with his grandmother and grandfather because his mother and his father was in the streets, right? His life was so rough, man, that he ended up spending time. I think he did a total of like 6 months where he shared a cell with his father, right? So at some point, HoneyKomb Brazy, he come home and his father ended up running into the guys that killed his grandmother and grandfather. And he asked him, he said, Daddy, I need you to get at him. His father wasn't willing to do it. His father told him, listen, HoneyKomb, I want to come home, man. I want to live my life. And HoneyKomb Brazy, he couldn't relate. So he said, you know what, man, my father ain't nothing to me. So then their relationship become turbulent. He come up in a trench, man. He come up in a really, really, really hard environment. And again, y'all, a lot of times our environment shapes us to such a degree that where it gives us our limitations. It creates the flaw that we have in our thinking. And you can see it, man. It's right there for full display. And I'm surprised that there wasn't any compassion. You know, man, I'm gonna tell you something. There was a time when I was a young person where I sit back now and I think about some of the decisions I'm making. I said, man, what would have made me make that decision? And I could literally think it all the way through. And I said, you know what, man? That decision was made because of the information that I didn't have. Not because I wasn't a good person. It was literally because of the information that I didn't have, the investment that wasn't made. Right? Literally, man, that's it. So when y'all look at these young boys, man, HoneyKomb Brazy being one of them, and y'all see the error or the flaws or the you know, the kinks in their being, man, we gotta have more compassion for them, man. We all got platforms where we can send the right information in their direction. Now, whether they listen to it or not, that's up to them. But we could at least try to provide the information for them. That's my thing. You know, like I said, we're so quick to judge. We're so quick to ridicule and pull people down and destroy people. You know what I mean? All you can do is make a person feel worse about themselves, because I guarantee you, if these young brothers knew better, they would do better. They don't want to stay in the environments that they stay in, but they don't have a choice. A lot of them don't like themselves because they don't like their own thinking. You understand? And if somebody invested in them, they would be able to do a lot better than what they're doing. You know? So I want to talk about the self-concept, man. And I want to talk about what we can do to shape it, to change it, because the self-concept can be changed. Remember, the self-concept is who and what we consciously or subconsciously think that we are. So how do we begin to you know, fix our self-concept? Because it can be reshaped. First, man, we have to become aware that the story that we're telling ourselves. Like, maybe you've been saying, I'm just an angry person, or I'm just damaged. I'm just a victim. I'm just the kind of person who gets even. And those aren't facts. That's a story that you're telling yourself. They're beliefs, and beliefs can be changed, man, if you dedicate yourself and commit yourself to changing them. You got to ask yourself, who taught me this? Who taught me who I am? Question what your environment has taught you. Every environment teaches us something. Every environment teaches us something. And sometimes it teaches us courage. Sometimes it teaches us fear. Sometimes it teaches us compassion. Sometimes it teaches us revenge. The question is whether we've been taught. The question isn't whether we've been taught. The question is, are we willing to examine what we've learned? We got to start collecting evidence, man, for the person you want to become. It changes through repeated action. Every promise we keep to ourselves, every difficult conversation we handle with maturity, we're casting another vote for a person we've becoming. We have to dedicate ourselves wholeheartedly, man, to reshaping our self-concept, man, by just acting out in a different way. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to be able to examine the way in which we're getting ready to respond and just do the opposite. Do you have the awareness to see your behavior? Do you have the awareness to examine your own thinking? That's what it all boils down to, man. Changing your self-concept, changing the who and what you think that you are. You know what I mean? Begin to affirm and speak positive things over yourself. You are what you are because of the work that you put in up until this point. And you can change your actions, man, every day. You know what, man? I'm getting into it with my old lady. This is where I usually would allow her to push me over the edge. I'm going to stay grounded. Maybe I got to leave for a little bit. That small action, man, can go far, right? You know what? Usually, you know, Friday, Saturday come around. I'm out there on a blade, or I'm going to a certain spot, a certain bar. You know what? I want to change it up. I'm going to do something totally different. That small action makes an enormous difference. It's all about changing your actions, man. When you change the way that you do things, the way that you view yourself change. Every step that you take in the opposite direction, man, is progress. I need y'all to understand this, man. I'm gonna repeat it till I'm red in the face, man. The effort it takes to make progress is progress. When you commit yourself to doing things different than what you have before, you know what? I'm gonna be more respectful to my old lady. I'm gonna come in the house, I'm gonna do dishes. I'm gonna come in the house gonna be clean. Maybe I don't have anything to offer from a financial standpoint, right? I'm gonna make sure that I keep the house clean. You know what? I can't read, I can't write, I can't help the kids with the homework. You know what? But I can make sure that they're doing their homework. You understand? Or I'm gonna make sure that I stay on my old lady so that she's making sure that they do their homework. We all have something to offer, y'all. Y'all have something to offer. Y'all are worthy of self-commitment. Right? You are worthy of self-commitment. Commit yourself to being the best version of yourself and understand that you're going to have some good days, or well, let's just say good moments, because there's no reason why you should have a bad day. A bad day means that you went throughout an entirety of a day allowing yourself to get down on yourself. No, we have down moments, right? We might have a bad moment. I mean, I give myself an hour max. And an hour max is enough for me to pull myself back up and say, you know what? I can forgive myself for that. Maybe I called my girl out her name. You know, maybe I went out and I stepped out on her and I got knocked. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what your situation, and I don't know what your situation required that you examine. But what I'm telling you is this. If you devote yourself to whatever it is, you're going to get better. It just takes time. Be patient with yourself. You got to understand, for years, you've devoted yourself to that way of being without any form of resistance. Now it's like, okay, you're waging war on yourself and you got to expect for it to be hard. Don't get down on yourself, man, that you take 2 steps forward and sometimes 2 steps backwards. It takes time to get better, man, and it don't always feel better at first. You're going to question yourself, but listen, you got to be able to self-accept. Self-acceptance is key. And self-acceptance is all about, you know, telling yourself, this is who I am right now. Self-acceptance is all about this. I can accept myself honestly without denial or self-hatred. There's no reason for you to hate you, right? You're new to this. You're new to devoting yourself to you. And you know that it's going to take time, baby. It's going to take time. But you're worth the commitment that you devote to yourself, right? We're changing the self-concept. HoneyKomb Brazy, man. Again, the brother can think. The brother can think, just like a lot of those young guys. But they haven't had anything invested in them. There has to be some compassion on our part. And that's the only way that we move this thing forward. I'm interested to hear what y'all got to say about this specific topic. I started full. I'm empty for now. I love y'all. I'll catch y'all next time.